you're doing the CHAMP program and you wanted to know more about the balance scorecard. Okay. So she's doing the HR analytics workshop and she's looking at the balance scorecard. What is the balance scorecard? So, yeah, the balance scorecard, to put it very simply, typically, what we do in the balance scorecard is we kind of create targets for the whole company. So to put it very simply, it's a target setting process. And people use, many companies use balance scorecard. Globally, it's one of the very common, how should I put it, very common products to help set corporate targets. For example, recently I've been doing a project in the World Bank to help one of the Mongolian electric supply companies to set a balance scorecard for themselves. I'll just share an example from that discussion. So the balance scorecard may look like this. What is the balance scorecard? For example, let us take this. This is an electric company. It's an electric supply company, right? This is an example of a balance scorecard for a company. Now, as I was saying, I was doing it for a Mongolian company and we use this as an example there. What should be your key target for your financial outlook? This is your financial outlook. Okay. So my target is to reach $9 million to get a 2% return on investment. And from now the second part of a balance scorecard. So balance scorecard breaks down your target into 4 areas: financial target, customer target. So for a customer, what is important? So customer satisfaction should be this much, reliability should be this much, system average interruption per, let's say, some kind of electric interruption should not be more than 180 seconds, let's say, per year or something like that. And then other areas, which is HR level, HR aspects. So for example, injury rate amongst my staff, safety level amongst my staff should be this much. So a balance scorecard looks at a series of targets which you set for yourself, normally from 4 perspectives. The first perspective is financial. The second perspective is customer indexes. Third perspective is looking at your operational aspects or process. Third aspect is process. Fourth is what we call learning and growth. Sometimes it's also called people aspect. So you can look at 4 aspects: people, processes or operations, customer, and this. So you set targets in each of these areas. In HR analytics, it's very important that if we have critical numbers for customer, critical numbers for process, and critical financial numbers, we have to break down those numbers to see what HR aspects can we do, what are those HR things we can do to achieve those financial, process, all those numbers. We have to break it down into the HR aspect. So that linkage between the HR and the business aspect, that linkage is very important in analytics. I hope, Naina, I'm able to answer your question, Ma.
But then when we are basically doing this strategy mapping, right? So yes, when we are doing, do we go from bottom to the top? So
no, you go from top to the bottom. Always from top.
So first we touch on the finance, basically.
Yes.
You go with learning. First, your perspective is people perspective. Then it comes to your so learning, development, customers, and the last on top is your financial goals. So first you take your achievement as financial goals, and from top
you ask yourself, what are your financial goals for the year? So typically any company starts with financial only, because see, that is the main thing, right? That's what the shareholders have paid you for. So if I take any, I'll just try to see if I have an example of that also. Now, when you looked at your strategy map, you said that you need certain things from employees, certain things from customer, certain things from financial, right? So these are some of your financial areas. These are some of your customer areas like this. So the green ones, finally, all these green ones are dependent on your financial aspects. So these could be some of your financial aspects. And finally, what you do is, let me just rub it off 1 second. Then finally, you get your, after you do your scorecard of starting, see, so when you start, you ask yourself, what are the financial aspects you want to achieve? To achieve those financial aspects, what are the customer things which have to happen? From customer thing, you ask yourself, to serve the customer, what are your operational or processes which have to be very good to ensure you serve the customer? And then you go down to finally, what is your final endpoint, correct?
Okay. So first you set the target and then you come from bottom, because
You
if I
start
read
from top and then you drill down to the
bottom, yeah. So because most of the reading that I have done, it says that, you first from the bottom, you just move upwards, then you get your
bottom. So
achievement.
when you plan, you start from the top and go to the bottom. When you implement, you have to start at the bottom and go to the
Bottom.
top, because if you don't do your employees well, you can't achieve your processes. If you don't do your process well, you can't support your customers. If you don't support your customers, you'll never achieve your financials.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you plan, you start from the top and build the plan. When you implement, you have to go from the
The
bottom,
bottom.
implement everything, and only then
Yeah.
will you be able to achieve it. So it's fairly obvious, right? If I don't have people, how do I do my work?
Yes.
Processes won't work. So I have to first ensure all my people aspects are in place. Then my operations are working well. If my operations are working well, customers will be satisfied, and finally I'll be able to produce the output that I need financially.
Yeah.
Am I okay with that, Naina?
Yes, Nitin. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Nitin.